Morning, everyone. Welcome back for this week's video. I know that the teachers have been busy cleaning out their classrooms, and we might not have seen you that much this week, but we appreciate your hard work while we've been working on that. And I know that we're excited to get into the last few weeks of the school year. So the other day, I was eating lunch, it was on Wednesday, and I heard a siren coming from outside. And it wasn't a siren from a fire truck or a police car. To me, it sounded like a tornado siren. So I walked over to the window and I looked, and it was clear and sunny out. Didn't really see anything that would make me think that there was a storm coming. So I went and I checked online, and I realized that the first Wednesday of every month is when they test the tornado sirens here in Dallas. But it got me thinking. Well, first I was happy that it was just the test, but it got me thinking, how do they know when to set off the sirens, or how do they know that a tornado is actually coming? So this week, our focus is going to be on weather. And the first question that I already asked was, how do people know that a tornado or any kind of weather is coming? Scientists use special tools to collect the information that they need about the weather here on Earth. These tools help scientists, and we'll learn what they're called in a little bit, to predict the many different kinds of weather, from tornadoes to sunshine, or even to calm breezes. What are some of the tools that the scientists use? And how do the scientists use these tools to predict the weather? These are some of the questions that we're going to look at in today's video. So what exactly is weather? The way that the air on Earth looks and feels at a certain time and place is called the weather. If someone asks you for today's weather, today you would have to say that it is cool and rainy out, at least so far this morning. You might tell them how fast the wind is blowing. These are the ways that you describe how the air looks and feels. Let's look at 3 tools that scientists use to track and predict the weather. The first tool is a rain gauge. You can see the picture of the rain gauge here. It's plastic so that you can see inside, and it has numbers, 2 sets of numbers actually, along either side. Let's see what that's about. So a rain gauge is of course a tool that collects the rainfall. You can see the water inside. The funnel shape, which it's a little bit smaller at the bottom and a little larger at the top. The funnel shape helps to collect the rainwater. The tube stores the water, and scientists can measure the amount of rain that has been collected. You can measure even small amounts of rainfall in rain gauges because of their funnel shapes. It looks like on the left side, it even says centimeters right here above the cursor. And sorry, that's the left side. And on the right side, we have inches. So you could measure in both centimeters or inches, depending on which units of measurement you wanted to use. The next tool is a thermometer. Of course, a thermometer tells the temperature of the air around it. It is a long glass tube filled with a liquid. You can see that here as the red liquid inside. As the air heats up, it also heats the liquid inside of the tube. The heated liquid expands and rises. When the liquid cools, it falls back down. There are numbers next to the glass tube that tell you what the temperature is. We measure the temperature in the United States in degrees Fahrenheit, but in most other countries, people measure their weather in degrees Celsius. Scientists generally use degrees Celsius when they measure temperature. We can see both scales here on our thermometer. On the left, we have degrees Celsius, and on the right, we have degrees Fahrenheit. Take a moment. What temperature is it where this thermometer is? To me, it looks as though it's about 40 degrees Celsius or about 106 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. And the third tool we're going to look at this morning is a weather vane. You might see this on the top of buildings, especially if the building is older. This is a pretty common addition to the roof. So it actually calls it a wind vane here, it looks like. But a wind vane, it helps scientists see which direction the wind is blowing. The arrow, which we see here, turns with the wind and points in the direction of it. Then we have the directions here, north, south, east, west, to how that part is not going to turn, but the arrow is able to turn with the wind, so we can see which way the wind is blowing. Now, how is this information passed along to us? If you watch the news in the evening, one segment of the news is, of course, the weather. And in that, the scientist, called a meteorologist, shares his or her prediction or his or her forecast for the weather for the upcoming days. We can see here a couple days of a 7-day forecast that the meteorologist is sharing with the viewers. Looks like it's going to be a little chilly, 39, 41, and something else behind that. This prediction is what the meteorologist thinks is going to happen with the weather in the coming days. It does not say that that is definitely what's going to happen. As we know, sometimes the weather changes even from day to day quite drastically, but it gives their guess about what is to come in the weather. You might see on the weather map that they show, you might see a red line that has half circles along it. We would call that a warm front. That red line with the circles shows the boundary where warm air or a warm air mass replaces or is pushing a cold air mass out of the way. If a warm front is headed towards you, it means the temperatures are going to get a little warmer in the coming days. You might also see a blue line with triangles sticking out of the line. This indicates that a cold front is on your way, or on the way. A cold front is the boundary where a cold air mass is now pushing a warm air mass out of the way. Now, we need to have a quick discussion about the difference between weather, which we saw at the beginning. Again, weather is the current condition of the air around us versus climate. Now we can see here our definition of climate is the average weather conditions for a region year after year. Weather and climate are not the same thing. Our weather changes every day, or even from a morning to an evening. It might rain today, as it is, and be sunny tomorrow, which we hope that it will be again. Climate, on the other hand, describes patterns of weather over a longer period of time in an area. To describe the climate, a person might say that the area has very hot and dry summers. We could probably use that to describe things here in Dallas. They would not describe the different kinds of weather on each day of the summer. Your weather is just what is happening on that particular day. Yes, it will definitely rain at some point this summer, but that does not mean that our climate is rainy all summer. Now let's go back to our, where did he go? There he is. Our weather man, or our meteorologist. Do you like studying and predicting the weather? Do you get up every morning and look outside and try to determine what it's going to be like out there today? Do you like speaking in front of people? Then perhaps you should think about becoming a television meteorologist. A meteorologist is a scientist who studies the weather. Casey Curry is a meteorologist for a TV station in Houston. Curry had to go to school to become a meteorologist, and she took classes in both science and weather. In addition, she also studied journalism to learn how to talk in front of others. Curry has an important job for the Houston area. She predicts the local weather to help people plan their upcoming days and weeks. She also helps people stay aware of severe weather like storms or heavy rain. Houston tends to experience dangerous thunderstorms, tornadoes, droughts, and hurricanes. Curry helps communicate with the people in her city and teach them about the weather. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you check out one of the videos on STEMscopes this week is giving you a little bit more information about meteorologists and exactly what they do. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you check that out. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap up our video for this week. I hope you've enjoyed our little discussion about weather. Pay attention to what the weather's going to be this weekend. Hopefully it's nice so everyone can get outside, get some fresh air, get out of our houses for a few minutes. And I think that's pretty much it. So have a great weekend. Keep up the good work out there, and I'll look forward to speaking with you again next Friday. Bye, everybody.